Hey guys, so we are on chapter 10. As always, if you have not read chapter 10, please do so. A lot of heavy stuff in chapter 10, just as we saw happening in chapter 9. So, chapter 10 begins with Ponyboy kind of leaving the hospital, and he says he's in a daze because he's trying to process the fact that Johnny's gone, right? Notice my highlighted portion here. He says, Johnny was dead, but he wasn't. If we were together, I'd be asking you, what does he mean here, right? And so he's dead, literally, right? But in Ponyboy's mind and life, and for the rest of the gang, he's not truly gone because he lives in spirit, right? So I think that's kind of what he's saying there. And then Ponyboy gets home and he has to break the news to the rest of the gang, right? His brothers and whomever else is at the house, right? And so he tells them, Johnny, he's dead, right? My voice sounded strange to me, but he's not dead. A voice in my head said, we told him about the beating, the Socs, and I don't know, he just died. He told me to stay gold. I remembered. What was he talking about? So Ponyboy's trying to figure out, what did Johnny mean when he said that to him? And I remember I told you to always keep, what did that word gold symbolize, right? And it had a lot to do with identity and who Ponyboy really truly is and all of that, right? So now Ponyboy's remembering, he snaps out of it and he remembers Dally pounding the wall, right? So he tells them, Dallas is gone. He's going to blow up. He couldn't take it. The rest of them know how much Dally loved Johnny, and Dally ends up calling them, okay, right here. He calls them and says that Dally just told Derry he robbed a grocery store and the cops are after him, and they got to go help him out because otherwise he's going to get arrested, right? Ponyboy says it was only yesterday that Dally had told Johnny and me that, but yesterday was years ago, a lifetime ago. You ever go through something and you feel like it was forever ago, right? But it just happened. So that's kind of where Ponyboy's at. Like, it was only yesterday or a couple days ago that they were in that church and it was on fire and they were getting themselves in this big mess. And now Johnny's gone and Dally's got himself in this huge situation. Okay, so here we go. They get to Dally and they see him having raised a gun, right? And here's Ponyboy thinking, you blasted fool. They don't know you're bluffing. And what happens? The policemen shoot him because he's aiming a gun at them, right? So here we're seeing Dally also is dead. And it's interesting here because Ponyboy says, please, not him and Johnny both. I knew he would be dead because Dallas Winston wanted to be dead and he always got what he wanted. So why did he want to be dead? Because the only thing that Dally really had to live for was, in his mind, protecting and keeping Johnny safe. And that was like almost like a son to him, right? Like a little brother. And Ponyboy knows that Dallas is so strong that he was going to get what he wanted no matter what. And he didn't want to be alive anymore because he felt, what did he have to live for? Right? So, sorry, coffee sip. You know how I am. He says, nobody would write editorials praising Dally, right? 2 friends of mine had died that night. One a hero, the other a hoodlum. But I remember Dally pulling Johnny through the window, Dally giving us his gun, Dally risking his life. Dally didn't die a hero. He died violent and young and desperate, just like we all knew he'd die someday. But Johnny was right. So here's the important part, right? He died gallant. Remember that word gallant? It was in Gone with the Wind, and it was talking about the gallant Southern gentleman, meaning the heroic, high-class gentleman. So Ponyboy saw Dally for who he really was. We keep going, and Ponyboy's getting dizzy and not remembering things. And Ponyboy says, where's Soda? I asked, and then I could have kicked myself. Why can't you talk to Derry, you idiot? I said to myself. Why do you feel uncomfortable talking to Derry? So Derry is trying to inquire and talk to Ponyboy about how he's feeling, and Ponyboy's just not having it, right? Because he still has that rift because of years of all of that animosity and hostility between the two of them. Okay. So then he's mad at himself because he really wants to let Derry in. Okay. We see here, right? Derry calls Ponyboy little buddy, right? That's big time because he always called Soda that and never referred to Ponyboy as that. Okay. Okay, so then Ponyboy, he finally reaches out to Soda about how he is feeling about not being able to talk to Derry, right? And he's nervous that he didn't ask for Derry when he was sick in the hospital. And so Soda says, yeah, sure, he said. You asked for him and me both, sometimes mom and dad, and for Johnny. He said, oh, I thought maybe I didn't ask for Derry. It was bugging me. Why was it bugging him? Because things are finally getting better and he wants it to stay that way. Right? So that is chapter 10. Okay, go back and do your questions, and I will be in touch with chapter 11.